I think that to meet the challenges of tomorrow, what we need is a future perspective. We need to take the next leap forward and to put Queensland out in front. We already know some of our biggest challenges. Rapid growth. By 2030, and it's not that far around the corner, Queensland will be the second largest state in Australia. Staying ahead of that growth and holding on to the Queensland that we love will be the test. Accelerating climate change. It's clear that if we don't start making changes now to the way we live, some of our sensitive ecosystems, including the Great Barrier Reef, will be lost and life as we know it could be put at risk. Unhealthy lifestyles. Unless we change our lifestyles, this generation of children run the risk of being the first in history to die younger than their parents. Increasing global competition. Unless we boost our innovation and skills levels, we will be left behind in the global race for new knowledge and that all-important competitive edge. And entrenched disadvantage. Despite our prosperity, too many Queensland families are struggling and the futures of too many children are being put at risk. Each and every one of these are complex issues, but they are not insurmountable if we start taking action now, if we start making changes today. So I want to outline my government's plan to do just that. We call the plan Towards Q2, Tomorrow's Queensland. It's the next phase of Queensland's transformation, a modern, growing, progressive state, well prepared and ready for anything. Q2 builds on the progress that we've made with the Smart State strategy and expands upon it. But what sets Q2 apart from a noble set of ambitions is that it is backed up with explicit, bold, long-term targets. Targets that will make these statements a living reality, not an empty cliche. We've identified 5 big ambitions and set 10 critical targets for tomorrow's Queensland. Our first ambition is for Queensland to be a strong Queensland. We want a diverse economy powered by bright ideas. And our first target is to be Australia's strongest economy with infrastructure that anticipates growth. Q2 sets us the ambitious goal of being the strongest economy in the country, growing at a rate that is ahead of Western Australia and ahead of all of the rest. Clearly that means continuing to invest in infrastructure, building roads, rail, ports, water, energy, and having the courage to borrow for that infrastructure where necessary. It means driving competitive tax arrangements and keeping our regulatory burden in check, and it means, frankly, having confidence in our economy. Can I say that the emergence of whole new industries like LNG, which are just around the corner, give me that confidence. Our second target is to increase by 50% the number of Queensland businesses undertaking R&D or innovation. Some of you will have seen my commitment earlier this year to move the focus of our Smart State strategy from bricks to brains. That is, from investment in buildings to investment in people, to funding researchers and scientists. That indicates my belief in the value of investing directly in human capital. As a government, we are more determined than ever to invest in the best R&D by the most brilliant people. We are equally determined to provide incentives and encouragement to businesses who do the same. Our second ambition, so we want to be strong. Secondly, we want to be green. We want to be a state where we understand the value of our remarkable environment and we work to protect the lifestyle that we love. So our first target is to cut by 1/3 Queenslanders' carbon footprint with reduced electricity and car use. Our imperative has to be to act on both supply and demand, to increase the proportion of our energy from cleaner and more renewable sources and to decrease our demand for fuel and energy by programs like our Climate Smart Homes program that will start rolling out the energy equivalent of the $20 plumber from the 1st of January next year. Our second target is to protect 50% more land for nature conservation and recreation. Earlier this year is actually the centenary of national parks in Queensland, 100 years since we declared our first national park at Witches Falls on the Lamington Plateau. At the centenary of that park, I announced a 50% increase in the already established target of protecting 5% of the state as national park. Increasing it by 50% will bring the land protected in national parks to 12.9 million hectares, or to give you a sense of it, it's twice the size of Tasmania. Our new target adds to that national park estate target by committing to protect more green space for local parks and recreation. As much as we all love to get out into our national parks, it's our neighbourhoods where we most feel the need for some green space. We want to retain and create areas where Queenslanders can enjoy our lifestyle and climate, and where they have room to breathe, and you will see this influencing our planning decisions. Our next ambition is to be a healthy Queensland, to make Queenslanders Australia's healthiest people. Our first target, is to cut by 1/3 obesity, smoking, heavy drinking and unsafe sun exposure. Nothing short of an all-out assault on all fronts will achieve any success. That's why I launched a $1 million prize for Queensland's healthiest community 2 weeks ago, and it's why last week I released a discussion paper on banning junk food advertising during children's television hours, and it's why you will see me talking about these issues and similar initiatives on a regular basis. Our second target is to have the shortest public hospital waiting times in Australia. To be honest, achieving those shortest hospital waiting times in Australia is a huge challenge. It will require continued record funding from the state. It will require a fairer share of funding from the Commonwealth. It will require access to GP services when and where people need them as an alternative to hospital services for routine services. But above all, it will require Queenslanders to take some personal responsibility for those diseases that are preventable and which we shouldn't be seeing presented at our hospitals. Our fourth ambition is to be a smart Queensland with world-class education and training. Our first target is to provide all Queensland children with access to quality early childhood education that gets them ready for school. So today I'm very pleased to announce that our first steps towards meeting this critical target, to taking the next big leap in early education after prep. My government will undertake the single largest expansion of kindergarten services ever seen in Queensland. Over the next 5 years, we will provide an additional 240 kindergartens at a cost of up to $300 million. As I said, it's the largest single investment in kindergartens by a state government in our state's history. Our second target under our education ambition is for 3 out of every 4 Queenslanders to hold a trade, training or tertiary qualification. Our $1 billion skills plan clearly demonstrates our commitment in this area, not only new investment, but a determination to work with industry and find new ways of skilling up our people. And you can expect it to remain a focus in future priorities. Our final ambition is for a fair Queensland. We want safe and more caring communities. Our first target is to halve the proportion of Queensland children living in households without a working parent. In addition to the foundations we're giving to those children, our economy needs everyone who can work in a job. There are many indicators of disadvantage out there, but it's my view that if we could successfully tackle this one problem, if we could successfully have more of those parents in the workplace, then we would at the same time be tackling many other issues such as homelessness and failure, which could be eliminated for these children. What this will require is a complete rethink of our current employment programs and how they're targeted, and how we can more successfully target these entrenched areas of disadvantage and unemployment at the same time as we're seeing overall unemployment rates at a 30-year low. Our final target is to increase by 50% the proportion of Queenslanders' involvement in their community as volunteers. I have a very strong view that as we become the second largest state of the nation, one of the real tests for us all is to hang on to that sense of neighbourhood that brings people here and keeps them here in the first place. We don't want to lose that sense of neighbourhood, and you'll see us developing initiatives to encourage people to be part of a broader effort beyond their own homes and beyond their own workplaces. And I know many businesses here are doing the same, and we look forward to taking a leaf out of your book in that regard. So in conclusion, Q2, tomorrow's Queensland. A Queensland that is strong, green, smart, healthy and fair. But But if we could achieve those goals, then I know that for Queensland, our best years are still ahead of us. Thank you.